like our next guest is sitting in the queue. Let's bring Paul on here. Is that you, Paul?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, my friend.
Loud and clear, beautiful.
All right, well, without any further ado, our second guest of the evening is now on with us, and this is Paul Banasiak. He's going to be co-headlining that lion fight card coming up here just in a few short days, and he's going to be that vacant cruiserweight title. I'm pretty sure this is a fight you've been chomping at the bit to get. You got the cruiserweight title fight. How excited are we for this opportunity, and what's your overall feelings on how this is going to play out for you, man?
You sure you don't have Brett Havlicek on the line, man? The WBC champion you had in the picture?
Oh, you kidding me, right?
What? You sure it's not Brett on the line?
Oh,
it
my
might
gosh.
be him. Is it him or is it me? Because I'm not sure. I'm excited for the fight, but regardless.
I gotta freaking kick my own butt. I gotta kick my own butt on that one because I didn't double check on that one. I remember several times during the thing I'm like trying to get Brett out of the thing because when I go do the search, he kept popping up. I guess because you're getting matched up with Chip.
I just want to know if you think his as pretty as me. I want to know if you think his as pretty as I am. I don't know.
No, not at all. Not at all. We got the prettier one right on the line right now.
Paul.
Better watch out since he's not listening.
Hey, Paul. We've had Brett on quite a few times too, so you know what I mean.
Paul.
Man, it's okay.
I want to let you know
I
had nothing to do with this chaos.
Wow. Oh, yikes. Washing his hands. That's nice.
No.
What the hell's up, man?
Going back to your question, of course I'm excited. I've been training really hard for this. This has been just my vision from the beginning. I think I've been creating and envisioning this from the start a really, really long time ago. Came a bit sooner than I envisioned it to, but, I took a lot of really heavy steps and sacrifices to make it so I guess that kind of fast-forwarded the process for me.
It's a big opportunity, big fight, man. It's one of the matchups that as soon as this card was announced, I was really excited for. I don't think a lot of people really know your credentials here. Like we were talking with Scott, sometimes it's really hard to kind of look up what you guys do on the Muay Thai aspect of things, just because you see, MMA has thousands and thousands of sites that are kind of, dedicated to rankings and keeping up with the records and stuff like that, and it's just really hard to kind of do that with Muay Thai, even though, Muay Thai has been around for God knows how long. They just you don't have that those sites to easily look up some of those things here in the States. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would definitely agree, but I would also say that it's definitely changing. Now that Muay Thai is being considered for the Olympics within the next 7 years, and the USMF is really coming together, the IFMA teams that are the U.S. teams that yearly go to the World Championships. I was part of the World Championship team for the WKA, and all these organizations are coming together to make a more systemized approach to it all, and to kind of keep track of everything. So a lot of the fighters that are going to be fighting in the tournaments as high-level amateurs or even as professionals, they're going to keep track of them all just to see who really deserves to be on Team USA. And then from there, it kind of builds up anticipation for the pros, and I think it'll be easier for everyone to keep track of it all. Everywhere else, you get high school, you get college, and then you get drafted, things like that. And I think these organizations coming together and the Olympics bringing it all together, it'll create a system for Muay Thai as well.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I just really want to see kind of grow moving forward. Like how you were just busting my chops. I'm sitting there, look. I Google your name and freaking Havlicek.
Oh!
What else? You even have these two guys going there messaging me. They're like, hey, is this Paul or Brett? What's going on? I know he's busting your chops, but what's going on? I can't tell who's who.
Hey, Paul, this is Brad. What's up, man?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. And I can always appreciate a smart fighter. And you seem, or you are, you don't seem, you are, because I've seen it. You're a very tactical fighter. But you could be vicious at times. You can, like you said, with this fight coming up, you can change the pace. If he wants to go right at it, you can go right at it. If you want to sit back and just relax and do some counterattacks, you can do that as well. How important is it for you to play by the game plan? I know nothing's got, you can't see into the future. I know there's no crystal ball, but how important it is to you, since you are such a tactical fighter, to go by that game plan and follow it and execute it to perfection?
Man, I'm really happy you noticed that, first of all, so thank you. But second of all, yeah, I am a tactical fighter. I am pretty cerebral when it comes to my game, and that's actually one of the things I've been actually trying to work on flowing more with. I've had really good success with it, and one of my coaches that I was just with in California, you guys may know CSA Gym, that has trained Kevin Ross, one of the Lion Fight champions, Gaston Bolanos, and a number of MMA fighters in the UFC Bellator. I was working with Kiri, and he said, you're such a cerebral fighter. Sometimes it almost gets in your way. Like, there's times where you can finish the fight, and you seem to make sure that you don't make any mistakes before you do so, and you might still outpoint them, but you miss your opportunity to do so and have an easier night. And I kind of had that same
Paul,
thing happen when I
let me ask you something real quick. I apologize for cutting you off. I don't want to lose my train of thought. So, Brett Havlicek, you said, I think there was a quote on, I think it was Fanboy Nation or something, that you were like, what the heck was it? It's like you didn't want to finish him. You wanted to test yourself and see if you could go the distance and punish him. Now, is that
the
correct?
quote was that I wanted, I was coming back from Thailand, and I had a lot of knowledge about the point system and winning a technical fight. And Brett being a tactical fighter as well, I wanted to play that game. I didn't want to just use my conditioning and athleticism to win the fight. After spending all that time in Thailand, I really wanted to test my skills against another technician. And that's where a lot of tactics came into play. You saw that whenever he did back up into the ropes, where he is very comfortable and he is dangerous countering off the ropes. He's had a lot of knockouts in the past using that. You see me kind of just wave him and come back to the center of the ring. So anytime we go really close to the ropes, I'm just kind of backing back up and instigating him, talking to him to get him back to the center. I just didn't want to play that game with him. And that's where I definitely could have pressured over and over and over again until his conditioning gave in, but I just chose to not play that game. So, retrospect, it's always 20/20. I might have done some things better here and there, but all in all, I was pretty happy with that. And yeah, the whole tactical thing, it's definitely changed a lot for me as well. I think I'm getting in a more flow state instead of being so cerebral. Still using those tactics, but just letting my training, just trusting in my training once I go in there.
Hey, Paul, this is Omar from the Pride Rules podcast. How you doing today?
How you doing, B?
Not too bad. Just wanted to kind of touch on something. You're cerebral in the ring, but what I did notice, doing my homework on you, is it the marketing push that you handle for yourself is awesome to see. I'm a big proponent of fighters needing to kind of be their own biggest cheerleaders and work the social media marketing angle themselves, and then that'll kind of set the table for what they're able to get in terms of opportunities. How did you kind of fall into that practice? Shed some insight if you could.
You want to be able to tell your own story. I believe a lot of these promotions, they do their best, but no one can be inside your own mind. No one can be inside your own head. And a lot of what I do, especially with my website, my blog, my podcast, and I run everything pretty much with myself and my partners. Lawrence Kenshin, Sean Fagan from Muay Thai Guy. Those are my partners that I work a lot with. And a lot of that, I'm just trying to tell my own story. I started this when I was younger, man. When I was a skateboarder, snowboarder, I created my own team. I was slinging DVDs in high school, editing, and selling DVDs when I was like 14 years old in high school. I kind of try to push myself and my crew, like in my little town, and sell DVDs in school. And that kind of continued on once I started fighting. And I just continued to promote myself. I wanted to tell my own story and just hope that other people can connect to it. They can probably skip over some of the mistakes I have made. I mean, it's what I did when I was following others. I was trying to skip a lot of mistakes that others have made, and then I was just trying to serve that same example once I became a fighter myself and people began to follow me and take note.
So kind of piggybacking right off of that, if you could have a chat with with you from 10 years ago, what's that one mistake that you say, hey, Paul from the past, this is Paul from the future. Avoid this or avoid X, Y, Z. Like what would you go back and tell yourself in a weird way?
I think I would just keep doing what I was doing then. I think I haven't made too many mistakes along the road. I think when I was younger, I could have had a lot of times where I could have stopped and appreciated the moment a little bit more. But I think at the same time, not doing that and just being hungry for, that question that I think a lot of fighters have at a high level, just, accomplishing something, and the second they're done, not actually feeling that sense of fulfillment and thinking what's next right away. I did that a lot when I was younger, and I wish, I kind of stopped to enjoy the moment, because there are a lot of beautiful memories, a lot of beautiful moments that I was just kind of rushing onto the next. I think it made some of my relationships suffer, so maybe just taking care of those relationships a little bit more instead of thinking myself. But then at the same time, you also think about, is it that relentlessness that really pushed me to become more successful? So maybe I wouldn't want to change those things. You just never know.
Well, Paul, too, real quick, guys, if you were more involved in those relationships, like you said, maybe your career doesn't turn out the way you have it going right now. And like we talked with Scott Kent, we talk about ambassadors of the sport. I mean, there would be no other I could think of right now. I mean, especially with this fight coming up, than you. How do you feel like putting line fight on your shoulders, man, spreading the word?
I love it. I think it's just in sync. Everything, the momentum grows on momentum. If you look at any kind of piece of literature, like if you read The Outliers, you learn that it's not only hard work and dedication and the hours, it's when opportunity meets opportunity and momentum stacks on top of momentum. And, if you're born in a certain year, let's say you're in Canada, you want to get on that hockey team. If you're born in after March, you're never getting on that hockey team, and that's just the reality of things. And I've had, it's crazy. So I've had the amazing opportunities that just went one by one by one. Even as a young guy, I was barely in the game for 2 years. I had the opportunity to fight at Madison Square Garden against an undefeated fighter, and I was able to drop him in the second round with a head kick and realize my potential while I was still in college, and then just starting to turn my life around, essentially training full-time even as an amateur, traveling to Thailand. Then I was able to meet Sean out in Thailand, start out the whole adventure online, and then the ventures online kind of helped me push more training where I got to work less, train more, and eventually getting to the point where I can be a full-time fighter even as a Muay Thai fighter. It's still not the best, but I'm able to get by. I'm able to put in more work than much of the competition and take more opportunities. So, it was something that I started to do once I went with Team USA to Spain, and I noticed that a lot of the fighters that had great opportunities didn't have them out there. They got food poisoning and things got in the way, family and financial issues. And me knowing that I have all this on my lap, instead of feeling like it's pressure or like I'm gifted something, I started to think of it like I'm going to do this for those people that don't have it and just take every opportunity. So, yeah, I think Lion Fight, I think the Muay Thai Athlete brand, Paul Reaper Banasiak, all of it coming together is just rolling with momentum and just pushing forward. I think one helps the other and vice versa.
Now, oh, God. Yeah, don't start yelling hard work like a self-absorbed Mr. Mayweather there.
Oh, Jesus.
So
I don't pay too much attention to those, man.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. We don't want to hear nothing more about that. That whole circus show is kind of stale for me. When the fight comes, then I'll talk about it again. But anyway,
we're talking to real fighters.
I respect them a
right
lot. Looking at their personal lives and the work that they put in. I look at the outside, like the real behind the scenes, not even for this fight, and just the, where they started off in the past. And, right now it's a show, but they got to that point doing really specific things. So that's more of the stuff that I study and respect about the two of them.
We were talking to Scott earlier, and he was talking about, taking the show outside of the United States, and he named a few areas and whatnot. Now, obviously you're going to be, this is a promotion obviously you want to be a part of. If they do happen to go overseas and, you are going to be on one of those cards, what would be one of the destinations you would do? He was already talking about Australia and whatnot. Is there a destination outside of the United States, having a Muay Thai fight like that you would be interested in doing? Puerto Rico,
Poland, baby, Poland. I was born and raised in Europe, and I think a lot of my roots are in there. And going back to where I was born and bred, a lot of what has shaped my character and upbringing, and where my mother was born and created herself, and my grandparents that went through the tragedies of World War and things like that. I think going back there, it would be an amazing moment to bring it all back.
Do you still have
to bring it to my
family out there?
Because all my family is out there. Here in the States, I'm just only my mother is out here. So, a lot of my family hasn't seen me in a very, very long time, and it would be great to just come back there as a professional and as a champion. I think it would be beautiful.
A parade. Get you a parade out there. That'd be phenomenal. Like a
Australia
Heroes
does not
Walk.
sound too bad, though. Australia does not sound too bad. I do like warm climates.
So
Nice.
when you win the fight, you can have a parade.
Hell yeah.
No, not
there
just
you
the
go.
parade.
That's what it is.
Not just the parade either. If Paul happens to catch this cruiserweight title, he could actually leverage that into having that fight in Poland. Be like, listen, let's run it back. Let's give this kid a rematch, but let's do it in my backyard.
Oof. I like the idea. I like the way you're thinking, brother.
Well,
You gotta like get the Parliament out
possible,
there.
It could go the other way. Chip could win a close decision, and he could pull that same card. You know what I mean? You don't know. So you get your ducks lined up and say, "Hey, Scott, listen, I want to put a provision in on this." But
yeah,
one of my
I'll ignore that situation.
Hey man, nothing wrong with that. I was like, and the funny part is these guys were like, oh, when I first said that both you and Chip were going to be on, they're like, oh wait, they're going to be on the same time. I said no, they're not going to be on the same time. I don't want to have to deal with that.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
It's not fun.
Yeah, seriously.
No, I wouldn't be like that.
Yeah, but,
honestly, Chip
Paul.
has been very respectful in this entire thing. We squared off at one of the local events here to just kind of push it, and yeah, it's been nothing but love between us. I mean,
like
a Friday night is going to be a different story, but
yeah, you're going to try to kick
I heard
each
you
other's
guys. There was
heads
no
off.
animosity. There was no animosity between you guys. You guys, have you trained together at one point in time, or your camps are like close by?
We're affiliated with the same camp, Sityo-tong. I mean, I haven't spent as much time there, especially in the last 2 years. Like I said, I've been living in Thailand for a long time. This training camp I did in California after doing a couple months here in Connecticut. But I was training out in Boston at the same exact location under Mark Delagrati as well. But, that was like twice a week. It was kind of cross-training once a week, and I think we might have moved around for a round or two, like 2.5, 3 years ago when he was still doing the MMA thing, and I was just kind of doing my amateur Muay Thai, so I don't even really recall that. I mean, I recall him I know he has a good jab. It's pretty accurate, precise, and things like that, but it's really nothing to go off of. So besides that, we've just been at the same events, and it's been all respect.
Yeah, let me ask you something real quick, too. It's like we talk about the traditional aspect of Muay Thai and how it's very traditional, and there's not a lot of respect between the fighters. Now, do you see somebody down the road coming in here and trying to tear up the whole joint, like being like someone like a type of McGregor type that's going to maybe call out some people over in line fight? You think that'll ever take place?
I think it is less likely just because of the people that Muay Thai brings in. I think as it gains momentum and it's on TV, more people maybe are chasing that persona, maybe so they can create a name for themselves. I mean, I think I've done a pretty good job doing a good mix of things, but I just stay natural. So I think if someone came in, I really had an issue with them, like maybe I come off as one of those people. But I think anyone that tries too hard. Recently there was like some boxer that was doing it about another boxer, and there was
fake.
Who was it with Bisbing? Someone put out a video. The Brazilian, he put out a
Joel
video.
Romero.
And at the end, he
Oh,
Joel,
man.
yeah, he put out another video.
Joel Romero gets
he just
10
lost
points
the
for
fight.
that video. I'm sorry.
He learned English though.
Yeah, so people
I was
are
shocked
trying.
as a Puerto Rican. I was like, what?
People are trying. They're really trying to push that persona, but when it's not organic, it doesn't come off right. For me, if you hear me staying really, really quiet, it's because I'm just working on some stuff. Sometimes I'm really loud. Sometimes I'm not. It just depends on what I'm truly feeling. And it's like when I was in Thailand and I was really getting broken down. Like I pushed this limitless lifestyle, just kind of living a life with no limits, no boundaries. And, ever since I was a kid, I would pay things off. Even my car as like a 16, 17-year-old, it was paid off within 2 years and et cetera, because I didn't want to be tied down. And if I had a golden ticket opportunity to go somewhere, I would take it. And that's exactly what happened when I moved out there. Now, I couldn't continue that when I was a sponsored fighter. I was very limited. I was pretty much owned by the camp. And I stopped writing. I completely stopped writing about it. And even though I wasn't gaining as much exposure because of it, and I had emails coming in and things like that, I would still stay in touch with everyone and push, technique videos, things like that. But all the organic content I would normally write about, living this lifestyle, I completely stopped it. And I wrote a message to all my fans and followers saying, like, listen, I'm not doing that right now. It's a different season of my life. But I can't model this example, so until I do, I'm going to write about, what's going through my head right now.
Do you think that's resonated with your fan base, like that authenticity? You think it's a big part of why people get behind you?
I hope so. I really do. I think a lot of people see me as someone respectful. To some people, I might come off like I'm a little bit out there, but it just depends what day you're following me on, I guess. And the people that know me personally, they know that it is always dependent on that. Who I talk to, the things I have to say about certain people, it's, I'm always truthful about it. So, like what I say about Chitley, yeah, he's a respectful fighter, this and this. And then, but I can't say that about all fighters. So like if I do have an issue with someone, I will bring it up, and I have no issue with that at all.
I think it's funny. When we were talking about Australia, we had one of our listeners like in one of our chat rooms, and they were like, no Australia. Australia has birds that throw snakes. F that.
Yeah, I got spiders that do that too, man. It's some crazy stuff.
Hey man, you, things you have to be worried about when you go to other parts of the world. It's fun.
Yeah, sleeping with the lizards.
I mean, just to me, like I don't know if it's just. I'm just saying it's to me like going and experience other cultures, how other foods, how other people live their lives compared to how we do over here in the States is just, to me, I think it's interesting. It's fun. But like I said, that's just me.
It's what's continued my whole fighting journey, honestly, the travel, the perspective. I mean, when you're in Thailand and you meet all of these people that are coming from abroad, not all of them are fighters, and a lot of them, you either meet someone that's chasing their dream, you meet someone that's running away from something, you find people on their leap year from Europe between college and high school, and you learn about their lives back home. So it's like this migration, this melting pot of everyone in the world. And then after that, I got to travel to Bali and other places. And, yeah, with this whole fighting thing, it really enables you to have a little more flexibility to your schedule. And I think that's what I love most about it now.
That's awesome to hear that part of it, Paul. But as we get ready to wrap this one up here, because I believe I just seen Chip pop into the to the queue here. How we
beautiful.
How we wrap up all the interviews, Paul, is throw the proverbial microphone over to you, my friend. Anyone you would like to thank, train the partners, teammates, shoot out your social media sites, any sponsors you might have, anything you need to say at all, my friend. The time is yours.
No, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. I mean, for anyone that wants to follow, just everything is pretty much at Muay Thai Athlete. You can check out our podcast for Muay Thai Guys Podcast. And, I want to thank all my sponsors, PMP Supplements, Vertimax, Headblade since I'm bald as fuck, things like that. Yeah, all my sponsors going into it. Lion Fight for having us do the damn thing this upcoming weekend. And, yeah, just thank you guys again. I really appreciate you guys having us on and spreading the word.